Happy Friday. Hello, everybody. We are live. I have a guest on my show, Theo. Theo is also my client. We're gonna talk about a very much needed topic: how to get back to your career after career break. Because I think in the past, time to time, people were wondering like, but okay, I had to take career break to take care of a family member or to take care of my mental health or like just to figure out what I want to do next and how do I get back. But I think after we experienced such massive historical events such as worldwide pandemic, economic moves, especially in tech sector, in tech industry, more and more people will find themselves in this situation when they're taking a break or they're taking a pause, and we're going to talk about it, how to regain the locus of control, because at the end of the day, um, you are in control of a lot of things. You are in control of a lot of decisions. And my intention is to really empower you today and provide insights. So, Theo, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks for having me on here, Eugene. I am an iOS developer. My name is Theo. I've been in iOS development since 2020. Uh, yeah, funny time to make a career change during the pandemic, right? My journey took me to companies of various sizes and a variety of different experience from large to very to quite small. So I've worked at um, my first employer was actually a startup in the tech ed sector. They make an iPad app for children with autism, and um, I remember the CEO sharing a story with us one time. She heard from one of her teachers. Um, the teacher said that we have a child who's nonverbal. We gave them your app, and she started singing. Like, this is coming from a kid who's like nonverbal, right? And you're just like, wow, this is amazing. Like, this is the best app ever. It's one of my most cherished experiences by far. Um, I've also worked at companies quite large, as I alluded to, Ford Motor Company and also Shark Ninja. Um, I worked on the Shark side, which makes the vacuum cleaners. They make a robot vacuum cleaner that you can control with your app. And yeah, so that's a little bit about me and my background. I mean, just to kind of like set I guess a couple of interesting things about me. I really like test driven development,
Mhm.
and I've been learning a lot about like solid principles and trying to apply them, trying to like make apps that are not tightly coupled, and trying to understand like how to engineer them and architect them properly with like um, yeah, loose coupling and dependency injection, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's about me. Yeah.
Yeah, like you have an interesting story, and um, I I remember how yeah, it was at the end of last year, how we met here on LinkedIn and started a conversation, and your story absolutely um kind of broke my heart in a way, because like really, and it might feel that it is unique to you, because like, but also you, when you realize that there are so many people in similar situations that were out of job, out of their careers for more than 6 months, more than a year. So why don't we start there? So before you started working with me, where you were, in terms of your career, where you were in terms of your job search, in terms of in terms of everything.
Yeah, sure. So I lost my last job in around end of September, early October of 2022. And, um, my managers were, rushed to like my, rushed to meet with me, and they said like, look, this is not performance related. There was just the upper execs said like, we need to reduce our budget. So, unfortunately, we have to let you go. So it was quite sudden and quite unexpected, and I was let go. So um, I was going to take a trip to Thailand that year to visit my parents who were there, and I remember I found my mom kind of not in a great state. She has Alzheimer's, and we knew this. We thought she was being cared for, um, but her situation was. I mean, we could tell like she needed more help, and that the help that she was getting at the time just wasn't enough. So I kind of like, I don't know, I guess I just kind of like said, well, you know what, I've got this nice little iOS skill. Why don't I see if I can, make something of this while I'm here in Thailand? And I thought, okay, I can take care of mom and I can figure out the career thing, I'll just figure that out. 5 months go by. I started taking care of her in around December of 2022, and then in around April of 2023, um, I came back to the States because I had already signed up the year before for a developer conference in Chicago. It's Deep Dish Swift.
Mm-hmm.
I had already bought the ticket. I already booked, everything. I was like, I have to come back for this because this is what I love to do. I love to make apps. I like to work on Swift things. So I'm glad I did that because it kind of like realigned me with other developers, and like I heard so many great talks there, and yeah, it definitely inspired me, really rejuvenated me. Again, I was still unemployed. I came back to Texas where my parents had kind of raised us.
Mm-hmm.
And, I proceeded to kind of like you know make some apps on the side, try to keep my skills sharp, um, and yeah, that was it was definitely a lot of like it was definitely frustrating for sure. Like I was meeting a lot of like I wasn't getting a lot of like traction in applying for jobs or networking on LinkedIn. Like I guess the tricks that I had done before, they kind of met
Mm-hmm.
a dead end, right? So I think I think it, and I'm a stubborn person. Like I'm not willing to admit, um, I will go like the wrong direction for a long time until like something absolutely slaps me in the face and then says, "Hey, dude, you're going the wrong way, or you're going about this the wrong way. Why don't you try something different?" And that didn't happen until the almost the end of 2023, when I was like, "Okay, I seem to be getting all these messages about like," and before I met Eugene, I was like Swift UI, Swift UI. Everybody's talking about Swift UI. Like we want a developer with Swift UI. I remember getting rejected specifically on the grounds of Swift UI because all of my development experience prior to that was primarily in UI kit. And I did dabble in Swift UI, but I didn't have really anything to show for it. You know what I mean? Like I obviously couldn't point to it in my resume. I had nothing in my portfolio that suggested that I did Swift UI. So I started making videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a video about an app that I really wanted to build, or rather, a specific problem that I really didn't like, and that is date pickers. Date
Uh-huh.
pickers are evil. I really hate date pickers, and I hope you do too. Um, but yeah, I wanted to sort of like build sort of like a date parser, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
something that the user could just type in the date that they wanted, and then the app would understand that, oh, you mean December 25th, 1952, whatever the date might be. Rather than having to like scroll through like all the years back to
Mhm.
1952 and
Yes.
then find December and then find 25. Like it's a pain and it's slow. So I was like, let me do this in Swift UI and see where this takes me. And then yeah, sure enough, that got the attention of Eugene, and then he reached out, and he had offered, like, he had this offering where I was just like, oh, this is exactly what I've been looking for. I've been
Mhm.
looking for someone to kind of guide me and show me the way. And he sort of, yeah, he sort of, Eugene definitely reaffirmed that, yes, yeah, you do need to, like, have something to show for the work that you can do or what you're capable of, because having it on the resume, I mean, I couldn't truthfully put that on there.
Mhm.
So I yeah, that's but yeah, that, and there's more to it. I know there's more to it. I'm not
Yeah.
going to spoil anything or any secrets, but no, that's really it. Like, and then it's been such a great learning experience. And if you're kind of, if you were kind of lost like I am, like, I mean, definitely reach out to Eugene.
So, and thank you for your kind words, because whenever I have a conversation with someone, right, and each career and business coach like slightly different, but the way I make a decision, or a decision whether or not to actually make an offer and say, hey, let's hop on the call, is when it's interesting process. Like, I have to see that person in my mind's eyes being successful. If that is not happening, like internally, I'm not moving forward. And when I started talking to you, something inside of me like was like real, and it was kind of like that feeling was kind of aggressive, that no, you gotta get him on your calendar like as soon as possible and make an offer, because that person is very close of being literally pushed out of tech for literally no reason, because he's an amazing iOS developer, he has amazing potential, but because, like you said, we might go in a wrong direction for a long time without knowing it. Because when I like in the like when I look at your profile, my first thoughts like, well, maybe not quite. And then I start looking deeper, like, oh, like that just put together absolutely not appropriately, and that communicates totally wrong thing. And you can communicate career break on your resume, you can communicate career break on your LinkedIn profile, you can also like put it together like in many different ways, which I teach inside of my program. Like, okay, you have a gap, what do you do with this gap, right? Like what, because many people actually also interested, okay, you were out of job for 18 months, what have you been doing those 18 months? Were you just like sitting here like doing like nothing, taking vacations, which is absolutely fine? Were you taking care of like a sick family member? Were you working on your own project? Maybe you were a freelancer, maybe you were a consultant, maybe you were running your own like full blown business. Like, what have you done in those like 18 months that you were working? Because I think one of the repellent for a lot of companies would be like, I was just unemployed. But like, what does it mean? Because you can be unemployed and still contribute. You can be unemployed and still do something. You can be unemployed, taking a break, and like keep advancing your skills. And that's what is the most important part. So my next question to you, um, many people in your situation where um, something happened with the career, either layoff like it happened to you, or they have to take a break from their career, um, it's very common that they're struggling getting back into workforce, especially now, because right now, and we're going to talk about that later, like right now, uh, we have a new norm in tech, sort of. We have a new reality that we have to adjust really, really quickly. And many people are not realizing that what was working for them until 2023, even until 2022, is not working anymore. So, and they need guidance for that. And a lot of people stuck with this dilemma like, I don't have a job. I can't invest in my skill set. I can't invest in my career until I get a job. But this is the catch 22. Like, you won't get a job until you get serious about your skill set, and you will absolutely lose your career, or you invest in your career, you invest in your skill set, even if it is scary, because it is scary. Nobody can guarantee you a successful career, like no matter how amazing that coach is. Ultimately, at the end of the day, is like is your actions. What was the motivator for you to like invest in the program? Because it is an investment. It's not $100 course. It's not like $500 course. It is a significant investment, especially for a person who doesn't have like stable income by the means that we know. What was that motivator? Like, yes, I need this. What made you to make that leap of faith and be comfortable with uncomfortable?
Yeah, I think for me, it was seeing where Eugene was in his career, right? Like he sort of he's already taken the road that I want to take, right? Because I saw his LinkedIn, I saw his career track, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, he started. He actually didn't start in iOS. He actually switched careers, but that's another story for another time. But yeah, he worked his way up and he made it to senior developer, and then yeah, I mean, he obviously knows his stuff, and I was just like, okay, yeah, this is sort of like this is exactly the person I want to like, you know, follow. So it to me it was just a no-brainer. I was just like, I have to do this for myself. I mean, because this guy has already done it. And it's clear that he's succeeding with this already. So why don't I, bite the bullet and just see what he has to offer. And I really didn't see anything that that would be a loss. Like I was just like, I have everything to gain from this. Like,
Mhm.
he can't guarantee me a job for sure. I mean, nobody really can, but I know he has something to teach me. Like I just knew instinctually, like, yeah, this guy has journeyed a lot further than I have in the iOS development track, and also he knows a lot more about the game than he's letting on. So yeah, that was really really big. So when I learned that, I was like, oh yeah, this has totally been worthwhile.
And what was interesting, because um, currently I am in this interesting place where I do have career coaching program, which is going really really well. I have like plenty of success stories. Like, so check out my feature section, because Theo's story is not like, it is not an accident, and it's not like just an exception. It's more so like, this is something that I see on a regular basis. We start working out of job for a long time, whether it is like 6 months, whether it is 8 months, whether it is a year and a half, or whatever it is, and then we get back on track, and like either landing a leadership position, or like a position that will really like, because the first immediate goal is to reintroduce, like start your cash flow going with with a stable paycheck from the salary, so you can invest further. But we also talked about like different kind of routes, like route of entrepreneurship and consulting, and we decided on the career path. But also, like when you were we were talking about even your like contract negotiation. I don't know like if it went anywhere or not, but like really when you ask me like, so like should I go like consultant route or should I go career route, and I that my intuitive guidance was like, well, I probably start with a career, so you get more comfort in the more confident place in your life, because you have to market, you have to sell from the place of abundance versus from the place of scarcity. And but we also got he also got a lot of support with contract negotiation and like overcoming objections, like even there. And I know in the career coaching program we don't dive into nitty gritty of business as deep, but we still have that old notion, you're a business of one, and every question from your potential like potential employer or potential like partner, like it is an objection, and you have to be able to address it, you have to be able to follow up with it like nicely. And that was absolutely wonderful. So tell me about kind of like go like kind of talking about the investment portion, right? What would you recommend to people who are in this like really stuck between heart and a rock, big in the rock and the hard place? Like, do I invest but I don't have the money, or like what do I do next? What, because um I always curious what people would advise, or maybe like a practical advice how to overcome this like financial challenge, because it's like kind of dilemma, what is the first, like egg or a chicken or an egg, like I need career advancement training so I can go to the leadership position, or I can be an industry expert that I already am, but I need the money. And when I get the money, like, do I really need it? Because I already have a job. So what would you, what would be your practical advice to the people who like, I don't think I have the money, but I need it? How they can solve this financial dilemma for them? Because like, I think you were in a similar position.
Yeah, certainly. Like, it certainly is an investment. I mean, for people who I guess who may not have, who may not be able to, afford it, I totally sympathize. Like it's totally understandable. I guess one thing to maybe try is like negotiate, right? Because Eugene and I did work out something where, it wasn't like, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, basically an installment plan, right? So we got an installment
Yeah,
plan.
and
Yeah, yeah.
even like I always like, and also like there's a data based on my clients, based on other coaching programs. When you pay in full, you get better result. But also your result, it's like it's fascinating. Your result will not decrease or not get smaller, but you will the more significant investment you make in yourself. And like for you and I, we agree on two payments, like basically split it in half, like. And when you do any payment plans with me or with a third party, there's a small percentage on top of that. So we split in half. But studies suggest when you pay in full, or the larger investment you make in yourself, the better results you get. That's that is not like a marketing trick. It's just the data. It's the data from myself, because I investing in myself, I investing in my coaching, in my education. And that result like clearly shows up in your case. You like you were able to re-enter the workforce. And like we were thinking about different avenues, like if it's not a traditional workforce, right, but then like it probably would be a graduation into my business program, where you are positioning yourself as an entrepreneur and work on a different scale, which is surprisingly, when you start advertising your services as an entrepreneur, and it's related to your actual field, everybody sees you, employer sees you, and they get in touch with you and offer you employment. Interestingly enough, so and yeah, like there's like there are means, right? And also like kind of from my experience, because like when I started my business and I also invested in my education, I finance all of my coaching services. I use my credit card, or I used some sort of, like third party company if it was available for me, like because like it is quite scary for me to invest, like make a huge investment. So like I finance all of my education personally. This is how I come up with the finances in my education. But moving on, you are in a program, so tell us about the transformation. Tell us about what you got in the program and how it affected you.
Wow, there's quite a bit. I think one thing that comes to mind that I think really shifted my mindset, I think, was when I asked Eugene for feedback on sort of a client proposal. So I was trying to sort of like, yeah, win a little project in iOS. And I think a lot of entrepreneurship principles came up in the feedback that he gave me. Um, and I think the most important one was yeah, I think he identified, like in my tone and in the way I was presenting, that I was coming from a place of scarcity, and that showed up in the presentation as well. So as soon as he named it, I was just like, oh my gosh, he's absolutely right. I need to I am absolutely doing that. And like I wasn't aware, like when I was doing it, I was just kind of like putting it out there. But yeah, once he named that, like I was able to re-record it again. And then, like how do I, come from a place of, abundance? How do I do that? You know, um I don't know exactly what I did, but the second presentation was definitely better for sure. But yeah, like that was super helpful, and that's one of many things that I've learned in this course. So, oh, I also wanted to like share one quick little thing about investing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my meditation teacher, he he says that if you don't pay your teacher, then the teaching will not work for you.
Exactly.
And I mean, his course is free, but he says that you only need to pay me with, just loving kindness for the world. When you give loving kindness to the world, I'm one of, teacher. He's part of the world, so therefore that's his payment. That's
Mm-hmm.
all he's asking for. Just make sure you give loving kindness for the world, for everybody. And because if you don't, the teaching won't work for you. So yeah, that's I think it's important. Like it's a give and a take, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be
Absolutely.
willing to give as well.
And I had a similar discussion with my first therapist. So my background, I was born and raised in Moscow, Russia, went to college there. And when I was in college, I realized that if I want to be a therapist, I have to hire a therapist so I know what my clients would go through and experience. And again, like this is like the investing in yourself is a mindset. And when I reach out to my therapist and I ask her why, well, like why in in Russia is a little different. Here you have like health insurance, you have health plans, they can pay for you, and you pay just a copay, like $20-$30 copay, if you can find therapists, but it's another discussion for another day. But I asked my therapist, why do I have to pay you? Like, I'm a student, I don't have like, I don't know like what it was. It was equivalent of like $3,000 for like the course of, I think it was 6 months or so. Um, she gave me like, we were able to figure out the deal because she was really interested in working with me because it was a new experience for her. And she said that, if you like free therapy, it's not going to work for you, because until you are invested in your transformation, the transformation won't happen. The same thing with coaching. Um, until you are invested in your transformation, because also like when you getting coaching, when you're getting mentorship, you're gonna go through a lot of resistance. It's uncomfortable, y'all. It's not like just worms and fuzzies. And I constantly push my clients. I say, hey, we got too comfortable. Like you like let's get everything together. So like, where's your content? Where's your technical knowledge? Where's your negotiation skills? Where's your like knowledge of the business side and the product, right? And or like put like bring your projects. So like, and you will get that resistance. Like, why do I have to create content? Like, why do I have to be a thought leader? Can I be just a mediocre developer that I was just there, and like recruiters would like, yeah, like the recruiters would get in touch with me. Why can't I be on the autopilot? And when you are invested, and when it's a significant investment, like, yeah, it's uncomfortable, but I might as well just do it because I want to get the return on investment. But when it's free, you will let your fear and invest, and you will let your fear and resistance get over you, and you know what, it's probably not going to work out. I'm not losing anything anyway. Like, so that was free because I bought so many free like freebies, because like if you go on Instagram or anywhere, like, oh, register for my free webinar. I have 10 free webinars that I haven't watched. So just like just putting that out there. Um so let's talk about your like, we started working together, right? And what immediately started working for you? So like before, like no interviews, no pipeline of like any kind of projects, we started working for you, or we started working with you. What is the first result that like almost immediately after you started noticing?
I think after Eugene reached out and, like sort of said, "Hey, I think you'd make a great, candidate for my program." I think that actually gave me a lot of confidence in my history, because I'm like, man, I just had like my shortest contract was maybe like, and that was at Shark, maybe like 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
and then my longest one was like 8, and that was with the startup. Um, so I haven't held like a job for more. I mean, not even a year. I wasn't able to hold on to anything for a year. So I was like, is there something wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the immediate thing that after entering your program was definitely a confidence boost, because like, okay, there's hope for me. Like I mean, like I'm not doomed. I'm not going to like, there's, yeah, I can still make this work. I'm still in the game. Like, I thought when I first started in iOS in 2020, like, oh, I just need more experience. I just need like, 2 to 3 years, then I'll be good. And like, what do you know, like 3 to 4 years later, I'm just like, am I worthless? Am I just, does nobody care? Is the market oversaturated with like ex Twitter developers and ex Amazon engineers, and super smart people that are way more deserving than I am. Like all these questions and doubts like filled me, and like, once I was in the program, like, okay, I could kind of let all that go and just focus on, okay, what do we need to do first? What do we need to do next? What's next? What's next? And yeah, I mean, Eugene's absolutely right. It's not comfortable. It's not all roses when you're in the mentorship program. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to get your butt handed to you, like from a kung fu master, right? That's just the nature of the beast. And you can choose what you want to do with it, but I chose to grow from it. I chose to
Mhm.
like say, yeah, he's right, and like I need to like shore this up, or I need to improve in this area. So, and there are a lot of areas. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's a question: is it even possible to get a job in this job market? The short answer is yes. People, here's the thing. Here's the thing. And I'm gonna go a little woo on you all, okay? Um, because your reality, what you're living right now, is a reflection of your attitude and reflection of your energy. If you come to the world that it is impossible, that there is scarcity, that there is not enough for me, there will not be enough for you. You will set yourself back. You will set yourself back. And when you land interview, when you show up with that energy of scarcity and energy of um, being scared and fear, your employer gonna feel it. They won't be able to really put a finger on it and say, well, he was kind of like he was interviewing from the place of scarcity. Like they will not give you that feedback. Like he's not confident, he is not experienced, he is not the right fit. He Something is wrong, because like I've been a part of multiple hiring teams as a technical interviewer, and I heard people saying literally this feedback: there is something off about this person. And that's an emotional response. And then guess what, like at bigger companies, you have to justify it with data, and they go ahead and justify it with data. He is not well experienced with the product, he has technical skills, and there could be better. um and they probably going to just fall back: not enough experience, or not enough relevant experience, or not enough something won't be enough. So back to your question, yes, it is possible. But if you are struggling to find a job in this job market, listen, what you were doing before is not working anymore. Give it up. Give it up and learn new, because right now tech market is like there's a huge self adjustment. All the fluff, all the riffraff that got into tech when there was a huge demand for software developers, and they're not really the industry experts, or they don't want to appear as such, or they don't want to hold them to that standard. They're all gonna go, but it doesn't have to be your reality. This adjustment, if you realize what market demands, and what market demands is like you being an industry expert, you being an expert in what you do, a thought leader, you got to show up, you got to build your community. It's a lot of legwork, but also it's a simple legwork, right? You show up, you talk about your expertise, you connect with people, you connect with the right people in your network. And if you're doing the work that 90% of software developers are not doing, we're still delusional that like our mediocre resume, our mediocre LinkedIn profile will get us a job. It won't. If you do more than 90% of software developers are doing, which is absolutely nothing right now, you're going to get a job. You're going to get a job. And like, I don't know why I'm so riled up, because I get this question over and over: is it even possible to get a job? Yes, it is possible if you like. The system works if you work it. If you don't work, if you don't show up, if you're not an expert, if you're not like if you're not holding yourself to the higher standard. And when I say you are an expert, like, listen, Theo doesn't have 10 years of experience in iOS development. Okay, I have other clients who didn't have 5 years of experience in what they were doing, but they were willing to build their community. They were willing to show up as a thought leaders. They were willing to hold themselves to a higher standard, and all of them got jobs. All of them. So yes, it is possible, but you have to hold yourself to a higher standard, and you have to invest. And if you don't know how, it's a new skill. It's a new skill that you didn't need as much before, even though like before you still needed that skill. Like my experience, all of my jobs that I got in tech came from me showing up as a thought leader, showing up as an expert through content creation and through networking. Really, that's that, and that what worked before well, because again, 90% of software developers are not doing anything about it. But yes, it is possible, and um, I I want this advice to be an inspiration for you rather than a discouragement. I want it to be an inspiration for you. You got to do what 90% of the industry is not doing. And that's a showing up as an expert. It's not the time to be comfortable. It's not the time to just sit back and like, well, where are the recruiters at? Because another thing, you got to be specific enough, right? You gotta be specific enough. Like, let's say your recruiter is looking for a person that would produce a green T-shirt that is made out of silk, that has a specific silky shine and silky feel to that T-shirt, and everybody sells a green T-shirt, and this is all the information they have. Who do they choose from? Like, well, like whoever they can hit in a day, and hopefully somebody will sell a silky, shiny, feel good T-shirt. But if you say, "Hey, I'm selling silky T-shirt with a nice shine to it and with a nice feel," that recruiter is going to notice you. Like, oh, damn, like that's exactly what I'm looking for. This the same applies for software developers, full stack developer, iOS developer, Angular developer. So everybody else, what is specific about you? Ooh, we went on a tangent. Listen, we went on like because I'm so passionate about this stuff because marketing is everything, right? Like whether you're running your business as a consultant, as a coach, as an entrepreneur, or you are trying to get a job, because the first thing that you have to be comfortable with, you are not an employee anymore. You're a business of one. And this is your decision how you want to market yourself as a business of one. Do you want to go with W2 employment and payment methods? Or do you want to fly completely on your own, or there's something in between, but you are a business of one? Until you get out of this mindset, employee mindset, you won't get it. You won't get a decent opportunity. And this is something that I realized really early in my career. Like, oh, I'm looking for a job. No, I'm selling my business, and I started showing up as I'm selling my business, even though I was looking for, at a time, I was just looking for a job. So, also, I would like to ask you, like, we in my program, we have an amazing community because it started like back in 2023. I started as a one-on-one coaching, and once in a while, I pick up like one-on-one clients from, like, let's say, different industries. But for software developers, it's also started like as one-on-one service, but then we transition it into community. So what do you say about the community that we have? What is your experience with the community?
Yeah, the community. like I just want to confirm the community that in your program,
Yeah.
of your program. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's excellent. Like I mean, we meet together as a group weekly. Everyone's very supportive. I kind of took an interest in one of our junior devs who's learning Swift, and we've been meeting together weekly to kind of go over, you know, the fundamentals of Swift. So it's been good. So there's um a lot of moments where we're kind of, you know, on the spot when Eugene has his, you know, Eye of Sauron on us, and you know, we get you know, it's not humiliating. No, I wouldn't say that. I would say it's very enlightening. It's very like, yeah, it's uncomfortable, yeah, but it's not. Eugene's not the. He's very sweet. He's not the type to humiliate anyone. So I'd say he's like really a great coach, like in that regard. Like, you know, very clear in like what needs to be done, or what good, or what good looks like. Um, and you know, very supportive at the same time. You know, yeah, it's never demeaning or humiliating. So yeah, I really do enjoy the weekly meets. You know, I always look forward to them.
Yeah. And with the with because every time, every week, I go on our Zoom, on our group coaching call, I always have a choice because, it's a lot of work on my end, pull people in, call people in. Um, and this is a difference, like call people out instead of calling people in. And my job is to call you in on your expertise, call you in what you're missing right now and where you have to go, versus just to call you out and like, hey, like, where's your content? Like, you haven't posted content for like 2 weeks. So calling you in and really unblock you there versus calling you out. And it's a work, like it's definitely would be easier for me as a coach to show up, give you like an inspirational lesson, what you have to do next, and finish my lesson and share the recording, and that's it. But I choose to make you to push you out of your comfort zone so you can be great, so you can land jobs. Because what was interesting, right? And I want to share this moment with you before, like right before your interview for the job that you have right now, we literally had like a popcorn style interview, and you said, "Hey, I have an interview for this position," and I put you on the spot,
You did.
and not to embarrass everybody, but like this is why I say you have to fail safe and you have to fail fast. So Theo bumped all of the questions, but guess what? The next day on that interview, he was asked the same question and he nailed it and he got a job.
Yeah, I do remember that day. Like, yeah, it happened exactly like he described. Like, I got my butt handed to me, and I'm glad it was in a safe space, right? Because if it had been in the interview, like, you know, that's like the worst, right? And not that the interview is going to humiliate you or anything, but um, you know, I came out of Eugene's meeting that day with armed with not only the right answers, but also like when he models, or when he sort of like explains the answer, or you know, tells you the answer, he's also sort of emotionally like in the moment of the interview, right? He's also showing you like how to sort of like, you know, say the answer confidently, say it like
Mhm.
with conviction, say it with, you know, not from not from a place of like trying to like, is the answer right or not? Like, just no, you just gotta just, right or wrong, just you have to say it. You have to, and you really have to believe it and embody the answer. So that also was worth the price of admission as well. So yeah, it did indeed sort of happen like that. Yeah.
And also your story, right? Because here's the thing, and this is like free help, free coaching, if you will, for all of you. Every answer is not an answer, it is your story. I mean, and in my coaching program, I model how to do it correctly, because you can go overboard when they ask you like how many experience you have in Swift. You can say like, well, back in the days when I started, like with my career, I only had like 1 year and then my first job, and then but overall at the end of the day I have 8 years of experience. This is not what we want. And this is what Theo said, like the when the first time I introduced storytelling techniques in technical interviews, because behavioral interviews is kind of like understandable, like, yeah, tell your story, tell the examples, then a bunch of videos how possibly do that. But how do you tell your story during your technical interview? Like specifically when they ask you like what is X and what is Y, and how they exactly connected, telling that story make because interview is a transference of beliefs. You are transferring your belief that you are capable of doing that, and they're transferring the belief that like you need to do that. And when that transfer, that exchange happens, then the hiring happens. Also, human brain, no matter if we are doing technical interview or not, human brain operates still on that storytelling principles. Your brain listens better when presented with a story, even a short one, when you presented a very complicated answer, because everybody knows the answer. And if you answer very complicated, boring question with the very complicated, boring answer, then it's like, like his communication style is a little off. Because people tune out, but when you connect your answer with the right story, that's where the magic happened. So, kind of wrapping up. So, we are going to wrap up soon. Drop your questions in the comments. So, we do have a literally few minutes for questions and answers for Q&A. Drop your questions, like regardless if it is related to um, your career, to the job market. Also, if you want to work with me, the link for my Calendly is in the comments. So I made it super easy for you. Grab the link, schedule an appointment with me, schedule a call with me, and we're gonna decide together if it is the right fit, if it is the right move for your career. Because my mission is really to bring wonderful software developers, wonderful professionals back into their power. And also, regardless what you want to do, like, because maybe you are at this crossroads, like, you know what? I'm really tired of being just individual contributor. I want to do something on my own. We can talk about that too, because I help entrepreneurs too with their journey. But if your goal is like, hey, I just need a job and then I will figure out, I can help you with that. So, before we wrap up, what is your one advice to for our audience?
I was going to say don't give up, but I think there's more to it than that. And I don't know if that's helpful, especially when, I've been in that moment where, rejections, missed opportunities, in the face of all of that. I think it's important to ask for help. So that's my advice. If, whether you find that help with Eugene or somebody else, somebody out there is going to help you if you, yeah, and don't give up in that search. It's going to be worthwhile because somebody out there knows more than you do right now, and they have more experience. They know the ins and outs of the interview process. They know the hustle, they know the game, and you need to find somebody who has those qualities, and then, yeah, and then just, yeah, make that happen, make that mentorship happen. So
Yeah,
that's my.
absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, like my invitation for you is to bet on yourself and be uncomfortable with uncomfortable. Investing in yourself is not comfortable. Being mentor or being coach is not comfortable. But you got in this career not because you want to be comfortable. Tech is super uncomfortable. Listen, everything is changing every minute. It feels like we right now we're in the era of AI, and very soon, very soon, a lot of software engineers will have to face a question: how do I raise my bar as a professional? And we're gonna have this choice: either enhance our expertise with AI or be replaced by it, or better yet, be replaced by the people who can enhance and raise their bar of their expertise with the power of technology, with the power of AI, and just a natural progression where we're going. And when the landscape is changing so much, the way you communicate your value, the way you put yourself out there, the like when you have this framework, because right now, like, it doesn't matter if you're an iOS developer or not, right? Because right now with this framework, you know exactly what to do. If tomorrow I like there's no such thing as an iOS development in traditional sense, like, but like what do I know now, what do I need to learn next, and how do I present it? Boom. Because again, 90% of people are not doing what my clients are doing, like show up as a thought leader, show up as an expert, and um, adapt and pivot quickly. And instead of new movements, new changes in technology being like a showstopper for you, make it make it a factor that will propel you in your career. So my invitation is open to you. My calendar link is in the comments. So grab the link, schedule an appointment with me, and let me help you and get you to your mountain, whether it is in your career or whether it is in business. And I'm looking forward working with you. Theo, thank you so much for coming to the show. Very heartfelt discussion. Thank you for being vulnerable. I know it's a lot, and I know it's a lot to like open up and really to put yourself out there in front of like large audience. I absolutely grateful for you, and how people can get in touch with you and connect with you if they want to expand their network and add you to their network, where they can find you.
You can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Theo Vora. Um, and I'm also on Mastodon. You can find me at iOS dev slash at Thevo, Theevo. So yeah, those two places.
All
Um,
right. Well, connect with Theo everywhere he is at. Connect with me if we're not connected. And until next time, bye, y'all.